3 in 4 Americans approved of the way President Kennedy was handling his job. He was popular enough to bridge the yawning gap between politics and celebrity.
Next question.
Yes, I should like to ask a question about...
Would you identify yourself, please?
I'm your wife.
A comedy album by a little-known impersonator named Vaughn Meader was the hit of holiday season 1962.
I should like to ask the following question.
No, speak English, Jackie.
The First Family sold a record-breaking 7.5 million copies in just 6 months.
It's been a long time since a president and his family have been subjected to such a heavy barrage of teasing and fun-poking and satire, and now a smash hit record. Can you tell us whether you read and listen to these things and whether they produce annoyment or enjoyment?
Annoyment. No, they produce, yes, I have read them and listened to them. Actually, I listened to Mr. Meader's record, but I thought it sounded more like Teddy than it did me, but...
Mr. President, the Democratic platform in which you ran for election promises to work for equal rights for women, including equal pay, to wipe out job opportunity discriminations. Now, you have made efforts on behalf of others. What have you done for the women according to the promises of the platform?
Well, I'm sure we haven't done enough, and... I must say I am a strong believer in equal pay for equal work, and I think that we ought to do better than we're doing, and I'm glad that you reminded me of it, Mr. President.
Feeling in some quarters, sir, that big business is using the stock market slump as a means of forcing you to come to terms with business. One reputable columnist, after talking to businessmen, obviously, reported this week their attitude is, now we have you where they want you. Have you seen any reflection of this attitude?
I can't believe I'm where big business wants me.
President. Now
I guess this chimpanzee who was flying in space took off at 10:08. He reports that everything is perfect and working well. That's great.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, visitors who go out to visit Lincoln Park on East Capitol Street are dismayed to find it a slum. Congress has authorized, and the National Council of Negro Women will erect there a memorial stadium and a statue of the great woman educator, Mary Bethune. Now the transit company proposes to put an 8-lane freeway between the park and the Capitol, cutting it off. Could you inquire into that and see if the freeway could be put further out beyond the park?
Yes, I will.
Mr. President, in the 1960 campaign, you used to say that it was time for America to get moving again. Do you think it is moving? And if so, how and where? The reason I asked you the question, Mr. President, is that the Republican National Committee recently adopted a resolution saying you were pretty much of a failure.
I'm sure it was passed unanimously.
Mr. President, you have said, and I think more than once, that heads of government should not go to the summit to negotiate agreements, but only to approve agreements negotiated at a lower level. Now it's being said and written that you're going to eat those words and go to a summit without any agreement at a lower level. Has your position changed, sir?
Well, I'm going to have a dinner for all the people who've written it, and we'll see who eats what.
President, do you think that Mrs. Murphy should have to take into her home a lodger whom she does not want, regardless of her reason, or would you accept a change in the Civil Rights Bill to accept small boarding houses like Mrs. Murphy?
The question would be, it seems to me, Miss Gregg, whether Mrs. Murphy had a substantial impact on interstate commerce.
In any case, we're delighted to be here. Coming in, I met four rather angry Fitzgeralds. And they said they're tired of hearing about the Kennedys and New Ross, and what about the Fitzgeralds? And I said that was because my grandfather who was mayor of Boston, John F. Fitzgerald, used to tell everybody he was from Limerick and Donegal and Galway or wherever it might have helped.
There is an impression in Washington that there are no Kennedys left in Ireland, that they're all in Washington. And so I wonder if there are any Kennedys in this audience. Could you hold up your hand so I can see? Well, I'm glad to see a few cousins who didn't catch the boat. We're glad
This is an honor and a pleasure that I've never had before to introduce my son on a platform. And so it gives me great pleasure to introduce my seventh child, Robert Francis Kennedy.
I want to thank my mother for the kind introduction. That's what we've gotten down to this campaign after some of these polls came out that we were not doing too well. We took Mother. Yeah, I know. I'm going to tell them you did. Well, why don't you give your own speech? See, that's it. We don't have... My brother and I never... The reason she's never introduced any of us before is because we never go on the same platform with her. I mean, we couldn't possibly compete with that.